Welcome to another edition of Around the Bases. I'm Dan Cimino, a Marlboro Youth Baseball Babe Ruth Coordinator Liaison, and with us are the two other usual participants, Mark Sharkey Shatalian, our home plate special, connoisseur and concession stand expert, and Rick Guzzi, president of the league. It's nice to be back in March. However, it's still cold, it's still freezing.
Snowy.
There's still a lot of snow out there, but we have to think positive. The snow will melt, the fields will be playable in another month. Right, Mark?
There'll be a lot of smiles on the faces. I see a lot of long faces right now with all the young boys walking around town.
Ah, that's terrific. That's terrific. Well, I'm trying to remember now. What did we cover last month, and what's hot? What's coming up that everybody should be aware of as far as the league schedule and things like that?
Well, how about that opening that we did with the 11-year-old Western Mass All-Stars last month?
Oh, the
was pretty
program
nice.
opening.
The program opening. That was pretty
yeah.
nice. That was the Western Mass 11-year-old team. They won that Round the Bases, which happens to be the name of our show. So that was pretty good. And in the background was the middle school jazz band, which was Dave Youngstrom's boy was playing in that.
Yeah,
That's
one of our board members.
That's right.
Oh, that's great. Well, who put that together?
Bill Bryant.
Bill Bryant, the guy who
Right.
makes
Master of
the
everything.
show possible.
Very
That's
talented,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent.
Well, this month we have, it's March, so the registrations are hot and heavy, so that's major. So all those registrations, and I know everybody's been getting numerous phone calls. All the board members have been calling everybody to make sure they get them in. So that's important. The evaluations will be going on while this is being shown through the month of March. So the evaluations are March 2nd at the middle school, and that's between 12 and 3 for baseball, and the softball's from 3 to 5. And then we have the evaluations, secondary evaluations for people who don't make it, because we're also hearing a little snow on Sunday, which I'm not happy about. But that's on March 9th. That's at the middle school, and that'll be hopefully from like 12 to 1, because we should get those out of there. But we have some surprises.
Yeah.
Mark, you got a phone call today?
Well, actually, I spoke with the varsity coach, Paul Duplessis, last evening at the hockey game. And I know the board has been discussing running coaches clinics. And I spoke with Paul, and he is going to come up on March 9th from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and we're going to have a coaches clinic that
Oh,
day.
that's great.
We'll go over a few things, how to run a practice, and just keep things positive and a great learning experience for the kids.
All right, so we'll get all the coaches. I mean, that's not just for youth. We can get Babe Ruth coaches up there, softball coaches. So we could have over 100 coaches
That'd be
once
great,
we get everything going. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. Another thing that Paul had discussed was, and we talked a little bit about it last year, but all of us seem to get a little busy with the new field and concession stand and the tournaments. But what we're going to end up doing this year is on Sundays, the varsity practices, and they have a short hitting period. And what we'll do is we'll take, each organization will take their team, their players, to the high school, and we'll go over defensive clinics with the varsity players, which will be kind of neat. And the varsity players are going to be in uniform, so we think the kids would enjoy that. And I'd like to see our kids be in uniforms too. I think it'd be a great experience for both the varsity players and our kids.
Probably do the majors and the minor league teams.
Yeah,
going up there. And,
yeah. We do have to limit the amount of kids.
Right.
So I figure if an organization goes, we'll have between 30 and 36 kids on a Sunday, and hopefully we'll be able to fit that into our schedule. I know during that time we have tryouts for our traveling all-star program, and we'll just have to work around that.
Right.
And this is for the league as a whole. I think it's a great thing, and as I said, I think it'll be a great time for the kids.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that's a community effort. I mean, between the high school and youth baseball. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Tremendous. Nice to see that cooperation between the different organizations in town.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
we also have congratulations because now Dan is the new Babe Ruth director.
That's right. Congratulations. Dave.
Well, glad to be on board, I guess. And as you guys well know, it's a busy part of the year, and you know, among other things, you mentioned the registration. So, softball, Babe Ruth, everybody's calling everyone who's participated in the past and that maybe hasn't gotten around to sending their registrations in to get them in, because we really got you know, just a very little time to determine the numbers and the number of teams and you know, allocate the coaches, managers, equipment, uniforms.
Right.
So it's a real busy time of the year. So I know we've mentioned it in the past, but again, if you haven't signed up and you want to, please sign up, mail in the registration, call someone from the board, go to the website, everyone's emails and phone numbers are there, the league number is there.
Right.
We don't want to we don't want to miss out on someone who wants to play, and even though there's 2 feet of snow on the ground, still not melting, we have to start thinking about
Well, it'll be
warmer
gone.
weather and outdoor
Right.
sports.
Right, that snow will be gone sooner than what people think, so, and they'll be thinking baseball. The Red Sox started this weekend, so we're gonna start thinking more baseball, so I think we'll get those registrations in, but it's important that they get them in as soon as possible. We try to sign everybody up, but at some point, we have to close registrations. So that's good.
Well, that's good. And I know Karen Callahan had a meeting this past week with the softball managers. So they're doing the same thing, organizing the registrations, allocating the players to the teams, and starting to get things ready so she can put together the schedule,
Right,
et
and that
cetera.
softball program is growing. We've added a new sponsor on the minor league level, and I know Babe could be adding more teams on the junior level.
Well, it looks like preliminary numbers that at the junior level, the 14 and 15-year-old players, we had 6 teams last year, and I think we may need 8 this year. So
That's great.
it depends what we'll find out in the next week on the numbers. And for the 13-year-olds, the prep league, the kids moving up from youth baseball, we had 5 teams last year. I think 5 will do it, but you know, we may end up with 6 of those teams. Again, the numbers indicate we could have the need for 6, but it will depend on how many sign up. And since we're talking about that, let me also take the opportunity to, especially for the 13-year-olds prep division who are moving up from the smaller Little League fields, we're really looking for some of the coaches and managers who participated at the younger age to hopefully continue on as their kids move up into the older ages on the bigger fields. So as we make the calls to remind folks of registrations, we've got members of the Babe Ruth board that are also going to be talking to people who have expressed an interest to coach in the past or to be managers, maybe people who have been assistant coaches. Now they can have the opportunity to manage a team. So we need some managers for that age group. And even for the 14s and 15s, we've got a number of slots filled, but anyone who's interested should again contact myself or someone, a member of the Babe Ruth board, so we can consider everybody who would like to help out as a coach or a manager and try to get those slots assigned to the teams at the same time we draft and assign the players to those teams.
I mean, just like it is at the T-ball level when we have new coaches come in, it's such a joy to coach at that level. It happens again at that 13-year-old level because the field gets to be a major league diamond, and you're teaching them all different things that you don't teach at the youth level. So it is a wonderful experience. So we have to get those. You know, anybody who wants to coach at that 13-year-old level, please contact a Babe Ruth board member. Go on the website; the names are there, and it is a wonderful experience.
Dan, when does when does your season start? When are you
Our
playing?
season starts somewhere around the last week in April. Hopefully, you know, the teams will be put together and you can start practicing in early April, but, you know, weather permitting this year, that's going to
Right.
affect all the leagues and all the age groups. And we also have the district teams that are similar to the youth all-star teams, where we participate in regional district tournaments, and teams can move on to state, New England, and national playoffs if they keep winning. And there are other local tournaments that these 13, 14, and 15-year-old district teams participate in as well.
I mean, just like the Ripken, the lower division, the youth division, the Babe Ruth division, the national Babe Ruth tournament this year, I believe for the 14-year-olds, or 14 or 15-year-olds, is in Quincy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's in Quincy this
There's
year.
some great
So
baseball.
there's some great baseball going on there. And just like at the youth level, the Ripken tournaments, the regional, New England regional tournament is in Marlboro this year, the 9-year-olds. I believe the 10-year-olds are in New Hampshire, the 11-year-olds are in Warwick, Rhode Island. I think the 12-year-olds are in New Hampshire. I just got the list on that, I'm not sure, but so it's exciting. It's exciting baseball. But we got to get through the regular season before we get through any of that. And our regular season, the kids really look forward to it.
Yeah, we should, hopefully we'll be out in the fields. We're looking to be out there the beginning of April. So, people sit tight, and we'll get out there as soon as the
Right.
city lets us get out there and use the fields.
Right. Don't go in any of the fields unless the city authorizes us to do that.
Right.
They're very hard to make sure that those fields are ready for us. And they may do a field and not give us the okay to do it, and then some people go out in these fields and they end up ruining them. So, please don't go out in the fields until the city gives us the okay to do that.
Hey, a couple of more things about the Babe Ruth organization. We don't want to forget that there's a
Fogging the show
senior
tonight.
Babe Ruth team.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Post Road Pizza, I believe, is the sponsor for that team. They get started a little later because they do that in conjunction with the end of the high school baseball season, because that group is for 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. So their season gets started up generally after Memorial Day, sometime in June, and they play about 20 or so games in
Right.
various tournaments. So that's one thing to remember, and the other is, what else was I going to say? Oh, I forget. I don't know. Oh, the registrations and the dates coming up. Just so people know, there is a coaches or managers meeting we've just scheduled at a board meeting this week that will be held next Thursday, March 6th. So if any of the managers get wind of it through the program, that's terrific. Put it on your calendars. And then we're going to have the draft of the kids on March 11th, which is a Tuesday night.
Right, and you're drafting all the children this year at all those levels
because we're
of
changing the
teams.
number of teams, we really need to redistribute everyone so everyone has the skilled players evenly divided, the age groups, the 14s and 15s, spread evenly across all teams.
Well, maybe now that we're going to redraft and the coaches are getting ready, we could show them a coach's corner spot of something to look forward to and something they should be doing with their kids.
All right. Is this Stan?
This is Stan.
Stan the man.
All right, Stan,
All
coach's
right,
corner,
show
take it
him,
away.
Stan. I know I can't keep up with him.
Don't hurt yourself, Stan.
Go! Okay, hi, my name is Stanley Russell from Russell's Baseball Academy. Today's Coach's Corner is going to be at America's Pastimes today, America's Pastimes Baseball Complex in Hudson, Massachusetts. Since baseball is starting, we're going to be teaching you some plyometric training exercises for baseball players and some agility training exercises for baseball players. So hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, the basic plyometric training drills is you use a set of cones. These cones are set in a row, and this is a basic level plyometric exercise for kids 5 to 8 or 9, depending on their abilities. Okay, what we just did was a front cone roll jumping over the cones, and the second drill was a sideways jump over the cones. The important things of all plyometric jumping exercises is to land on the balls of your feet, catch your weight by loading your legs, and then when they're loaded, you want to instantaneously unload to jump over your next cone. We don't want to land on our flat-footed, and now we have to rock to our balls of our feet to jump again. Okay, now we have intermediate level plyometric exercises for kids that are age 10, 11, 12, depending on their abilities. There will be basically 1-foot hops over the cones. Okay, that was an intermediate 1-foot jumps over the cones, forwards and sideways. The important thing to remember is you load, you land on the ball of your foot, you absorb the weight, load your leg with the weight of the landing, and you unload right away, same as 2-footers. Now we're going to an advanced technique, which I call twisties over the cones. Okay, that was the advanced plyometric exercise called twisties. The important thing about twisties, when you jump, you want to turn your hips in the direction that you want to go in, and also use your shoulders to turn your body. And you land and load and unload just like any other drill that we do in plyometric. Okay, this next plyometric drill is called 1-foot side to sides. This drill is good for any part of baseball because it builds up the strength in your hips and your secondary muscles in your hips to stabilize the whole body on top of your hips. I'm going to show you 3 different exercises: the basic, the intermediate, and the advanced level. The side-to-side, 1-foot side-to-side drill. The first one, where you just jump side to side, was the basic drill. The intermediate level is you jump to side, but you touch over the cone with your outside arm. And then you jump to the other cone and touch with the outside arm. The intermediate level is you touch with your inside arm, so you got to cross your arm over to touch the cone. And the main thing to remember again is you're landing on the ball of your feet, you load your legs, and then you unload your legs to do your next jump. And this drill, it's important that when you touch the ground, that arm is not balancing the body. Your 1-foot landing hip is balancing the body. In closing, this is basic plyometric and agility training that all players can be doing during the off season. So it's very important, since the baseball season's coming up, that you can start training your core area now. So if you have any questions, I'm Stanley Russell from Russell's Baseball Academy at 508-481-3892. I want to thank America's Pastimes Sports Complex in Hudson, Massachusetts, is where their facility is. Thank you.
Stan, that was another great piece of Coach's Corner. I didn't know Stan could jump so high.
It's amazing. He's an amazing man.
He's quite the athlete, I'm telling you.
I'm breathing hard just after just watching him. So, you know, I hope these youngsters can keep up
How does
with
he
him
get charged up like that?
as we
I
can.
don't get it.
I'm going to have an assistant coach that's a lot younger than me, because I can't do what he just did.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and maybe we need a trainer on every team now.
I'm just
Maybe.
going to take.
Put
I'm
them through
gonna take
Stan's
this.
calisthenics clinic and then assign them to each manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to tape it and have the kids watch it upstairs in the clubhouse.
Okay.
We'll go from there. Because I can't do that stuff.
Really?
No.
I thought you were in shape.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming back to what we need to get accomplished in the softball and the youth side and the Babe Ruth side. I mean, we all know the economy is getting, or it is bad, and we rely on the city to do so many things. And one thing we can do as an organization is try to raise money. We will be doing a raffle this year, again like we did last year, with all those prizes, and you can indicate what some of the prizes are that we had last year, then hopefully we'll be able to continue with them. what did we?
We had Red Sox tickets. We had tickets for Red Sox Baltimore in Baltimore. I believe it was a Friday night stay, a Saturday game. I don't know if we stayed Saturday night also. That was one of the
Right.
I think it was a 2-night stay
Yeah.
if you wanted to, with a
Yeah.
couple games on
There were
Saturday.
Mets. Were there
couple
Mets
on Sunday.
tickets too?
There were Yankees, there were Mets, Orioles, all those away with some hotels, hotel time donated as well. And, yeah,
We
and
did
we're gonna
an
try
Orlando
to,
trip, Orlando, and
Oh,
we
yeah,
did an Orlando
that's right.
trip.
That was nice. Yeah,
That was
great.
nice. And the
Yeah.
cash prizes and other things. But we'll be getting together with the committee with, Babe Ruth, girls softball, and youth baseball, and putting something together that we'll hand out, I believe, with the uniforms. And that way we can get things back, and we'll set dates for that. But it's an important piece of the organization, that the raffle goes off, and the parents and coaches and the community takes it serious enough that we can raise money, so we don't have to rely on outside help with the city or and other things that what we do with the grants and other stuff. It does bring us closer together as an organization, because we're 3 separate divisions in one organization, and we work hand in hand to try to raise money. All the money we raise is for capital projects. None of it goes towards any all-star teams. None of it will go towards any of that type of operation. We raise it for the fields, improvements that we need to do, whether they're concession stands or lighting, fencing. And I know Babe Ruth is going to, they have a new field that was built and still being built, that this revenue, I would assume, would go towards some of that. Girls softball needs it because they have that field at Farrell now. They may need an announcing stand and other things to go along with that, and some fencing. And youth baseball with their fields always needs money for capital improvements year in and year out. So I think it's a wonderful way to raise money. And the community gets these fabulous prizes that the Visitors Bureau helps us out with Rich Tomanak and other people in the city that donate prizes. So it's good.
Dan, talking about the other field up at Stevens Park, when is that targeted to open, start playing on that?
well, actually, we have a new member of the board, and in a few minutes, I'd like to take
Yep.
a couple of moments to recognize some of the former members of the Babe Ruth board that have decided they're sick of guys like me and you and all the other coaches, and have decided to let other folks have the opportunity of helping run the board. But one new position we've created is a capital projects coordinator, and that role is going to be filled by Robbie Wellen.
Good.
So he's got a lot of great experience obviously in projects, in construction, and knows, a lot of the right people you need to know to help get things done in the city. So it's kind of the implementation of what needs to be done on that new field to make it playable is kind of Robbie's pet project for the year. So, we're hoping we can get some fencing and foul poles, maybe a little regrading. Maybe the infield has to be kind of turned over this year, since it kind of sat idle last year after the basic field was put in. And he's also going to make it a primary objective of his is to help find a way to see if we can obtain additional funding to help get that field up and running as soon as possible. So he's going to kind of sort of be the coordinator and liaison for that. So, Robbie would like to see us playing on that maybe towards the end of the year, maybe at least when the district play comes, and certainly it should be a viable field for when we start our fall season in September.
Well, you got a good man, Robbie, and his cousin Charlie were very instrumental in our concession stand.
That's right. They
Getting
did a
that
lot of
done last
work
year. That was
on the
incredible.
youth side.
That was incredible. I just put it in his hands, and he just took the ball and really didn't have any worries there at all.
No?
So
Tell
that's
us what else is going on up at Babe.
Yeah, okay. Well, that, like you said, that's a good example of a project where we want to take some of that raffle money and if you can help open up another field, that's great, or buy the fencing, or lighting, or scoreboards, you know, long-term improvements that'll help the league and help all the players.
Could be
The
extra.
board, there's been a few changes on the board at Babe Ruth, and some of the folks, I'd like to recognize, first of all, some of the folks who, why are you guys all laughing?
Because we think, I'm waiting for a phone call. Like, the phone is ringing, and I'm waiting for a call from Theo Epstein. I'm waiting for that call to go down to Florida.
No, you keep waiting.
I've been here for about 40 years now.
You're up with us. You may have to go up to New Hampshire with Carlton Fisk or something, and
Right.
I'll
chop
do that.
wood in the snow, Sharky.
I'll do that.
Anyways, what I wanted to do was recognize some of the past board members of the Babe Ruth that have decided to move on and let some of the other people have some of the fun or opportunity of running the league. And those folks who've done a tremendous job, most of them for many, many years, are Fran and Marie Bedard, Patty Tyak, Marion Mitchell, Billy Richards, and Matt Busick. So if any of you folks
That's
are
great.
watching the show, thank you. The league and the kids and everybody in town appreciates the hundreds and hundreds of hours you put in to help make that Babe Ruth organization a finely run organization. All right, and let me just take another minute here and acknowledge the new members of the board.
Okay.
As you mentioned, I'm the new director of the board and looking forward to really working with all these folks and continuing Babe Ruth in the strong tradition it's had for many years. Henry Tyak is now in the position of treasurer. Pam Wellen is our secretary. Rich Holland is our junior and prep league coordinator. John Busick is our all-star advisor, and he's really an overall league advisor. We kind of consider him a consultant and senior advisor to the entire league.
Wily veteran.
A wily veteran. John was the president for many years, and he's just got some other commitments and time commitments that he's got to help. He's got to find a way to fit in. So he didn't want to continue beating us all up, and so we wanted to.
Well, John's done it. John and I were close over the 2 years that I've been the president. It's now my third year, and John always ran a lot of things, like I know you do too. And John did a tremendous job up there growing that program.
Amazing.
I mean, he's
Amazing
up
all
there.
the things he's done.
People don't realize he's up there not just nighttime, daytime, cleaning up, making sure everything is correct and right, and it takes a lot of energy. And not that you have to be up there during the day, Dan, but because you have a lot of good people that are on that board. But it's wonderful to have John in a sort of an advisor.
Yeah, because we're not going to let him go away
No,
completely.
no,
He's staying on. The other positions, as I had mentioned, Robbie Wellen is the capital projects director. John and Bob Hathaway are league advisors, and Bob is handling the equipment and uniforms, and is umpire in chief, and these are roles he's done for many, many years as well. And we've got some new at-large positions. Tom Bergeron, who's been the senior team manager, is on the board, continuing on the board as in an at-large role. Rich Tomanek is on the board. He came on and coached the team last year, and he's letting us meet at the Embassy Suites, and he's just great donating his time. Bob Levine is on the board as an at-large member, and he's helping out in many, many areas. He brings a tremendous amount of experience from the youth board. And Jack Fahey is also on the board, and he's been involved with the league for many, many years. By the way, Bob Hathaway is in the hospital with a minor infection, and we all wish him well. He should be out by the time this program airs. So,
Well, that's a great board. Babe Ruth is going to really profit from all those people being there. Same as the youth program. We want to, again, thank Bill Bryant for another segment, the Big Sandwich Show. Next month, hopefully we'll have our own show around the bases. Hopefully we can get outside and we can do some things on the fields. in interviewing some of the children and the coaches and getting things rolling. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Mark, for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, everybody.
When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, till they steal your heart away.
Good morning. My name is Jay Raskew. I'm with the Toxics Action Center. I'm the organizing director. We're gathered here today on the Marlborough-Sudbury line to honor the Marlborough Easterly Sewage Treatment Plant with a 2002 Dirty Dozen Award. The Dirty Dozen Awards highlight the 12 most toxic threats to the environment and to public health every year. They also highlight examples where government inaction and industry inaction has led to these threats. The awards were chosen by a committee, 5 members representing the environmental, public health, and worker safety community, and were chosen from nominations submitted all across the state. The Marlborough Easterly Sewage Treatment Plant is receiving an award today for polluting the Hop Brook watershed with excessive amounts of nutrients, especially phosphorus, which has led to the destruction of the habitat, ruined wildlife habitat, ruined residents' abilities to use the waterways for recreation, and has caused a noxious odor that has affected neighbors, as well as the Wayside Inn historic site, visited by hundreds of thousands of tourists every year. We're calling on the DEP and the EPA to force the Marlborough Easterly Sewage Treatment Plant to update their permit. It's 9 years overdue, and a lot of these problems would have been addressed 9 years ago if they had had an updated permit, which would reduce phosphorus emissions specifically. So that's why we're gathered here today, and with me today speaking will be Representative Susan Pope from the Massachusetts State Legislature, Rich Davidson from the Wayside Inn Trustees, Susan Crane from the Sudbury Trustees, Select Woman Kirsten Rupinian from Sudbury. I might have missaid her name there, so I apologize. As well as Frank Loynes from the Hop Brook Protection Association. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Representative Susan Pope. I represent the towns of Wayland, Sudbury, and Lincoln. And I've been working with the Hop Brook Protection Association for over 6 years on this problem. And I know members of the Hop Brook have been working for decades on this. This is clearly a problem with Marlborough. It is clearly a problem that is polluting the Sudbury side of the Hop Brook River. And it's something that should be cleaned up. Sudbury should be given some money from Marlborough to clean this up. As has been stated previously, we are a big tourist attraction here in Sudbury with the Wayside Inn. Many tourists come from around the country, and all they see in the summertime is the polluted Hop Brook brook. And this is something that we have been working with, and we hope Marlborough. We were hoping years ago that Marlborough would help its neighbors, and it has not helped so far, and we are very desperate now to have Marlborough help Sudbury clear this up. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Rapeni, and I'm on the Board of Selectmen in the town of Sudbury. This issue goes back several years since I've been on the board. We have talked with Marlborough, trying to come to some resolution to the pollution at the Hop Brook area. It's our hope that we continue our dialogue and our conversations. It's also our hope that the EPA and the DEP develop and maintain the policies that they've said they would. And it is our expectation that the dialogue will continue and we will come to some sort of a resolution in the very near future so that our Hop Brook systems can be maintained and not appear as horrendous as they have in the past several years because we've done nothing. It's very simple to do nothing. It's a lot harder to do something, and I think that the responsibility now lies with the people that have the ability to make something happen for the Hop Brook system. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rich Davison. I'm a trustee of the Wayside Inn. I'm a lifelong resident of Sudbury and have lived on Hop Brook for the last 32 years. As others have said from time to time, the inn is a historic site. It's visited by several 100,000 people a year from all over the country and all over the world. It's visited every weekend during the spring and summer months by residents from Marlborough and Framingham and surrounding towns who are looking for some open space. Visitors often ask us, what is this awful mess on the ponds? And why is this happening? And when we explain what it is, they can't understand why our government allows this to happen. We are very overdue in having a permit proposed that could deal with this issue, and it's time that there be some action.
Good morning. My name is Susan Crane. I'm a resident of Sudbury and a board member of Sudbury Valley Trustees. Sudbury Valley Trustees is a regional land trust with a number of reservations in Sudbury, and the Hop Brook system runs through 4 of those, covering over 7,000 linear feet of frontage, including Gristmill Pond, about a half a mile through the Memorial Forest in Sudbury, and about 1,000 feet through the Lyons Cutler Reservation, also in Sudbury. The dissolved oxygen levels and excess nutrients in the Hop Brook system and the 4 mill ponds has decreased the fish level and the quality of fish and insects in the ponds and in Hop Brook, which has a serious impact on Sudbury Valley Trustees' mission of protection of the ecological integrity and wildlife habitat of the Suwasco watershed, which the Hop Brook system is part of. And we have been very supportive of the Hop Brook Protection Association's efforts for a decade or more in trying to get the system restored, which in turn would have enormous benefits on the wildlife of the Suwasco watershed and in particular in Sudbury. And we urge the agencies to do all they can to finalize a permit that will be protective of Hop Brook. Thank you.
My name is Frank Lyons, and I'm the president of the Hop Brook Protection Association. And I took some time to sort of formalize my comments because it's a challenge for me for someone like me who's been involved for over 10 years in the struggle to protect the Hop Brook watershed. It's a challenge to try to condense my thoughts about this into just a few words. The Hop Brook Protection Association takes no pleasure in participating in the presentation of this award today. We feel that certainly the sewage treatment plant has earned the award, but it's a disaster for the environment, and anyone who cares about the environment will take no pleasure, won't feel good about this award. Others have probably told you about the devastating effects of the nutrient pollution from the sewage treatment plant, which properly emphasizes the basic nature of the award. I'd like to say a few words about the governmental processes that allowed this to happen and what needs to be done to correct the situation. The Hop Brook watershed is severely polluted today. It's on the state DEP's impaired waterways list. It's classified in a number of recent studies as hypereutrophic, and no end to the problem is in sight. The governmental agencies charged with protecting the watershed have been and continue to be totally ineffective in this role. This has gone on for years. The operating permit for this sewage treatment plant is 9 years overdue. An unbelievable 9 years overdue. Where's the accountability? The watershed was in a fragile state 9 years ago, and the regulatory agencies have done nothing to protect it from further damage for over 9 years. During this time, the watershed has sustained substantial additional damage. How could this happen? Quite frankly, this is an example of Massachusetts backroom politics at its worst. The state DEP and the federal EPA should issue a joint permit regulating, among other parameters, the nutrient discharge from this plant. For over 5 years, the DEP has been obstructing the EPA's efforts to issue a permit that will address the water quality problems in the Hop Brook. This behavior pattern of the DEP can be traced to the influence that the city of Marlborough has exerted upon it, and by the fact that all this has been done with the knowledge and consent of Bob Duran, EOEA Secretary, and coincidentally, Marlborough resident. One of two things must happen to address this problem. First, the EPA can override the DEP and issue a permit that will address the pollution in the watershed. Or the DEP can rise above political pressure, evaluate the problem based on water quality needs and state-of-the-art and nutrient removal technology, and then agree with the EPA on an appropriate effluent nutrient concentration. Failing the implementation of one of these two options soon, 130 acres of ponds in Marlborough and Sudbury will become 130 acres of swamp.
Thanks. That's everybody, Peg.
There's water underneath it. That looks like a lawn, but there's actually water underneath there.
Right next to the wayside end. You can see the, I call the poster child.
When we try to clean up.
Across this one, right here.
Such a day.
Yes.